What's up, guys?
Hello.
Yes, Atar.
What's up, dude?
How are you, bro?
Good. I'm kind of gonna check your skills.
Bro, I like the kitchen, Silky. It looks nice.
Oh, I'm not cooking. I like well, I like your fake background.
What fake background, bro? It's me and Carol hanging out. Stop hating. Yo, we're going back to back in the kitchen.
Made this. This is great.
Pretty legit.
So you don't drop the beats.
Tonight.
Charnie Pants is here.
Charnis is cooking.
Hey.
John, hat band was the hair that you have to wear a hat inside.
I have to add. Trust me. You're wearing a bandana. It's basically the same thing.
What up?
Hey, Kash.
Ah, everyone's on.
Donna.
Hey.
Where's Martin at?
Oh, Charnis. I use Zoom with Stefan, and we've been doing back on our 2 tracks. You can actually do remote control, and I can control his Ableton.
Wait a minute, I thought you were a chef.
Hi, Jason.
Guys in my kitchen.
Oh, what's up, Jason?
Hold on.
What up, Jason? Shit, I didn't even see you.
There they are.
What's up, guys?
So
All right.
I'm sure you guys are wondering, like, what gives me the resume or the right to cook and do any of this and be like, who's this asshole thinks he knows how to cook? But I've been cooking since I've been 8 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I started working as a busboy in a restaurant when I was 12. I started managing a restaurant by the time I was 20. Went to culinary school. With music, I've taught myself everything as well. I've been pretty much self-taught myself. I never went to school for it, but I pretty much ran and did a restaurant for over 12 years. Kitchen, ordering, writing the menu, prepping, every single part of the kitchen, and I cook every single day because it's my life and my passion. This is what I do. And yeah, I just love food, and I just wanted to show you guys something cool, something different, something that's actually really easy and also really manageable. I'm having you do a spinach pesto, and you're like, why would you do a spinach pesto when pesto is supposed to be basil? The reason why is because right now it's like we're kind of in a crisis, but I feel like most people keep fresh spinach in their house because it's something people eat because you make spinach salad, blah, blah, blah. You can make do with what you have. Pretty much like the artist living on a budget, just cooking, but making bomb food so you can survive in these times. I know some of us are vegan, vegetarian. I know not everyone does this, but I wanted to do something easy, and like, I feel like chicken is something a lot of people eat and are okay with eating. That I'm gonna teach you how to make a bread with just flour and pretty much egg and like no yeast. So it's like, just like literally this is like quick, easy, awesome bread that you can pretty much, you'll never make bread again once you make this. You'll never buy like, you'll just always be making it at home. And dude, you know, I eat really good. And literally I'm spending pennies. I'm not really like spending all this money to eat, you know, you can eat really high-end stuff on a low budget.
Show us your boobs, Michael. Yeah.
That's what I've been saying the whole time. He's not listening.
Oh my god.
That's paper.
Thanks for sharing that backstory, Mike.
Yeah.
These dumbbells get here
What up, Sean?
Yo, what up? Yeah, I still feel like people are trying.
Hey, Connor, can you invite more girls? The ratio is off.
More guys on.
It's a sausage party.
Hey,
I'm gonna show you my Armenian sausage.
Yo, that's a different channel, bro. Onlyfans.com.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't want any sausage.
First things first is we're gonna make bread, and pretty much we're gonna need a bowl to make the bread in. So a nice mixing bowl like this, perfect. And what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to put 2 3/4 cups flour in the mixing bowl. And before we get started too, another thing is that there's 2 different types of cups. There's cups which are like flour cups, which are liquid cups, which are separate. These are 2 different types of ratios of mixing. So when they say like I need a cup of oil, it's not a cup of oil of this, it's actually a cup of oil of this. So they're actually separate measurements. 2 3/4 cups, and you're gonna want to put them in your bowl. So, and be pretty precise. So when you fill your thing, kind of like top the top off, like I am like this. All right,
Michael, how many is this serving?
This is gonna be actually a lot. So this bread you're gonna make, we're only gonna be enough to make at least like 8 pieces of bread at least. And then, like, see how I'm doing that? You just kind of like top it off. So take that, do that, put your flour to the side, and then you're gonna get a little bit, you're gonna do your teaspoon of salt. Me, I'm not really one to measure out salt. I do a teaspoon. You wanna mix it up and mix all your dry ingredients. Just make sure all your dry ingredients are mixed together. We have that. The next thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna get another bowl, mix our wet ingredients. So we have our wet ingredients, which is gonna be 2 3/4 cups of water. So you're gonna get that into the bowl, and then you're gonna want 1 extra tablespoon of water, and you use your tablespoon measurement, like that. You're gonna wanna do 2 tablespoons of oil in the water. I know oil and water doesn't mix, but it's gonna work. So use your 2 tablespoons of oil. So you have your oil and your water, and then you add 1 egg. And with eggs, I know a lot of people don't know this, but eggs, when you cook them, they should always be left out for like 30 minutes before you cook them. It's okay if you don't, but like just like if you're making meat or you're making anything, everything should sit out at room temperature before you cook it because it cooks it evenly and it cooks better. Just room temperature is how everything should be cooked. I lift my egg out. So I got my egg out right here. Just crack your egg, mix it in. You got your egg, water, all that. And now you're just gonna mix that all up. The flour out a little bit of time, maybe like half. And you're gonna take a wooden spoon or some sort of spoon. I'd say use your hands, and get all that flour and everything just sort of mixed together. And one thing you wanna make sure you do is you don't over mix. Because if you over mix, it creates a denser bread at the end. It's cool when we need it, but when you mix, it's like you don't want to do too much mixing. It's gonna be the same thing with the pesto. You don't like over blend it because it just does something with the flavor. So you just want to. And everyone's recipes are gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna notice that with water, you might need to add like an extra tablespoon of water. Usually, I add an extra tablespoon. You would rather have less water, so you can add more water later on. So you don't, mix. If you have too much water, then it's a pain in the ass, but it's always easier to add more water at the end. And obviously make sure you have extra flour for mixing. So now my flour is looking good. It's kind of like balled up. I don't know if you can mix together. And it shouldn't stick to your hands. It should be pretty much like, my hands are clean. Look, I barely have anything on them. I have this bread that's just like water, egg, everything mixed together. So always, once you get your ball, does everyone have their ball? Everything should be in a ball like this. So
watery as fuck.
Did you see if my ball is good enough?
Oh, did you use 2/3 cup water?
I think I might have used too much water.
Yeah, pretty much I have this ball that I have. It should be around this consistency. There should be a little bit of cracks in it. But this is when we're gonna have to start kneading it and working it together. What you do is you kind of like tuck it under, push it down, and if you see that your bread starts to like kind of dry out, you're gonna notice there will be cracks. A little trick I like to do is I take my hand and I just put my hand under the sink water and my hand just gets wet, just like my hand is moist, and that amount of moisture is just enough moisture of water on my hand to bring the flour together more. It's a good trick. Just put your hand under the sink and then start putting it on the bread as you like mix it together. And then you just kind of like, pull it out, if you can see it, like, you're literally kneading the dough because you gotta spend about a good 3 to 4 minutes. This is where the love of cooking comes in. This is like the love. This is the moment of like, your energy actually is going into your food. So this is a very important part because you're literally putting all of your energy into what you're about to make. And that is really important. So flour to the surface you're on, because you want to make sure that your dough doesn't stick to the surface, because the flour, I'm sure many of you know, but like I said, I'm talking like nobody knows. The flour is a way of like, it's pretty much is like a non-stick. It makes everything not stick. And you can make like this and it lasts in your fridge. Once you make this, it lasts in your fridge for up to 3 days, the dough, so you can make bread on demand anytime you want. And the bread literally only takes like 2 minutes to cook once you roll it out. So putting all my energy, all my love, everything that I have into this food because I'm gonna eat it, So it's like you're literally loving yourself when you're making food. It's literally a gift to yourself when you're cooking because you're literally putting back, recycling the energy that you have to give out in the world back into yourself. And it's just really a beautiful thing. That's why food is so amazing. It looks pretty smooth. There's a couple cracks and dents in it, but that's okay because we're gonna wrap this up with plastic wrap or put it in a plastic bag and throw it in the fridge for 30 minutes and it's gonna just stick together.
Mine keep like falling apart. Is that normal?
Yeah, look at this.
Just put a little bit more water.
Okay.
I need
Water
more.
will make it come together.
Mike,
Yeah.
look at mine. Is this?
Looks like you need more flour. It's just. Does anybody have a ball like this yet? He's got a good job. Who's that in the corner up there? I can't see. Oh, that Brendan. Good.
Very sticky.
It's to add more flour then. It's gonna make the bread last because nothing's better than a nice meal with fresh hot bread. Like, I mean, what makes a sandwich, but except for when you get it nice and toasted the last second, or there's nothing like fresh bread. Like fresh bread is, I mean, for thousands of years we've been eating fresh bread. I don't think that changes how good fresh bread is. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put mine in a bag. Unfortunately, with baking is a science. It's not an art. So like, things need to be pretty close to exact, or it won't work. With cooking is an art. Baking is a science. Like if you make cookies and you don't put the right amount of baking soda, or you don't put the right amount of this. Like when I make souffle, if I don't do souffle the right way, it won't rise. But with cooking, you could put a little bit less salt, it'll be okay, or a little bit more of this or that. Like I said, it's a little bit different. It's two different things. So literally, it's like.
Can I get a ball check?
Yeah, that looks good. That looks great.
Yay!
So have you just give it a couple knees? And I know this sounds like hippie shit, but put your love into it. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. I'm telling you.
Put your back into it.
The reason my food tastes so good, I swear on my life, my girlfriend will tell you, is because I put all my love into every single thing I do when it comes to food. And you can really, really taste the difference. So I got my bread pretty much airtight. You want to make it airtight because if any of the air gets to it, it dries out the bread, and you don't want the dough to dry out. And once it's ready, you just toss it in the fridge, and we're gonna let that sit. It needs to sit for at least 30 minutes. The longer it sits, the more the gluten sticks together.
Put it in the fridge right now.
If you're done, show me your bread. Yeah, put it in the fridge. Yeah, yours looks good too. Oh, Myda, what up, girl? Yeah, yours looks good. Oh, it can stay in your fridge for up to 3 days, or you can freeze it for at least a month. We're gonna get freaky and make some tzatziki. So get another bowl. Another bowl. This is a great sauce. It goes good with everything. It's just so fucking easy. And I'm gonna show you how to make it right now. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna want to take one cucumber, and we're gonna wanna shave the cucumber. If you guys don't have you guys should have a vegetable peeler, right? I feel like most people have vegetable. Perfect. So peel the cucumber whole. Peel the whole thing. Put it in your trash. Come back to me when we're done. I'm gonna do it too. So we have our cucumber, right? All right.
Is that okay, or it has to be one?
Yeah, that'll work. That's perfect. No, it'll work, dude. So this is gonna be different. Everyone's gonna make their cucumber sauce a little bit different. Because some people want to put a little bit more lemon. Some people want to put a little bit more dill. Some may want more cucumber. So this is kind of where your own preference comes in. I just put a basic recipe down so people can follow by if you don't know how to do anything. But this is something that you can develop yourself, and you can do it in your own way. So like you can add, you can add different things to the mix. So take your cucumber. So this way, from the top to the bottom, just straight down the middle. You have your cucumber split. Look, see how I have my cucumber like this? Like this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a spoon, and we're gonna stick a spoon inside the cucumber, and we're gonna de-seed the cucumber. So if you look, I'm taking the spoon and I'm taking the seeds out. So when you look at the cucumber now, it's a cucumber canoe, because you want to take the seeds out because the seeds have a lot of water, and you don't want that water. I gave you a recipe to follow by, but like I just throw yogurt in, like.
How many spoons of yogurt?
Well, I put a cup and a half if you want, but I just put like.
Can you give us a ratio, like, because we might have different cucumber amounts? Like I have 2 of these guys, so.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
So just one of these or 2 of these, because I have 2 right here.
No. You're not gonna put those in anything yet.
Okay. But I'm just wondering how much yogurt I need to put.
Just use a cup of yogurt or 1.5 cups.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I made a bigger batch because I like to save this stuff for later. I like to, you know, dip crackers in it. Whatever. It fucking tastes bomb. Do any of you have cheese graters like this? Perfect. If you don't have a cheese grater, you're going to have to chop it. But I would recommend using a cheese grater if you have it. What I'm going to have you do is super thinly chop the lengthwise and just make as thin as you can strips of cucumber. So everyone else, try and use this one of the cucumber, of the grater, and you just need to start grating your cucumber. Like, just put it on the grater, and it's just gonna start grating the cucumber.
Straight to the yogurt thing or no?
No, don't put it in the yogurt. No. You're just shaving it on the cutting board right now.
Might have put some in the yogurt by accident.
Well, don't put any more in there.
Okay. Is there a shaving technique that doesn't get my fingers shaved off?
Just don't fucking go to the tip, bro. Come on.
That's what I'm in fear of right now.
Super fine layers because there's some chunks in there. Is that okay?
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
Okay.
You're gonna literally put it in both hands, and you're gonna go over the sink, and you're gonna squeeze the cucumber, and literally liquid should be coming out, and like keep squeezing it. Don't lose the pulp, but get rid of all the liquid. Add a little bit at a time into the yogurt, not everything at once, because you don't want to over cucumber it.
That's Eddie. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, Kana.
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Go.
What up?
If you guys don't have dill on you, if you have fresh dill, you don't need to put as much cucumber. But if you don't have dill, add more cucumber. It looks like. Can you guys see how this looks?
Yeah.
So it should be. You should see the strands of cucumber in there.
What's the question, John?
So mine is like this because I don't have a grater.
That's fine, bro. It'll be like a chunky cucumber sauce. It'll still be fine.
Squeeze these, right? Squeeze these as hard as I can, basically.
Yeah, get all the water out. If you have dill, you need the dill. The big dills. If you don't have dill, that's okay. But what you do, you grab it from the top and you just pull down from the top, and you literally just, and it just takes everything off. So you like, I have the stick left, and now I have all the dill. And you're gonna use like at least like a decent sized handful. You got to be careful when you chop them that you don't over chop them, because when you over chop herbs, it ruins the fragrance. So you just want to kind of like, once you get you chop, hold the knife like this with your hand. Always keep your knife blade on the cutting board, and you just let the knife do the work. You kind of just keep the tip of the knife on the board, and you just kind of rock it back and forth. It's the easiest way to chop. Never like lift your knife and like chop like this. You just keep your knife like on the board. And like I'm just like, I'm kind of just keeping my blade on the cutting board. I really never take my blade off. And then you just, I'm gonna want more because I'm not scared of herbs. I like herbs.
If it's looking very thick, like just adding more cucumber and
dill? Thick is fine. No, thick is fine.
Thick is good.
Thick is good. Who doesn't like a thick dill? So you should start seeing, like, if you look at you mix it up, and it should start looking white and green. You should see like chunks of cucumber, chunks of dill. Like if you could see mine, like see how it has like dill. It's got like it's white. It's still white, but it has like nice amounts of green in it. It's starting to look good, right?
I'm just gonna finish this yogurt. I'm starving. Are you adding salt to this?
Yeah, we're gonna add salt at the end.
Okay.
Recommend using shallot. If you don't have shallot, that's okay. A shallot, if you don't know what a shallot is a milder red onion. It adds a different. It's like a bougie onion. It's like, you know, it adds a milder flavor. It goes really good with like, it's just a bougie onion. We're gonna add garlic. Garlic is super simple. You put your garlic, it's on the thing. You take your knife like this, and you just push down, and the garlic should just pop right out of the shell. You need to pull it right out of its shell. That's how you open garlic. Garlic nice and this. If you have a garlic press at home, do a garlic press, but I don't know if everyone has a garlic press. So what I do is I cut the garlic down in half, slowly cut the garlic. Like, you know, it was small. You want it as small as possible. I don't know if you guys have one, but I have one. It's one of these. You just put the garlic in. If you have one, use that. If not, chop the garlic. Like, this is the most important thing about cooking, is tasting and seasoning the whole way along. I'm not seasoning right now because this doesn't really need to be seasoned while you cook. We're cooking like if we're like sauteing sauces, that's a whole different technique where you season as you throw the onions in, you saute the onions, and then you throw in another thing and you season and you season. That's a whole different technique, but we could just season this all at the end.
If you have the garlic press, do you just press it on top of the yogurt?
Yeah, if you have the garlic press, start with 2 cloves.
Okay.
And just squeeze them in, and then like you kind of use the back of it, upping the shallot for this one. You can also use the garlic press for the shallot if you want. I would recommend putting about this much onion in, a little, like not too much. So I have my sauce. It still looks nice. It's got a nice glisten to it. And the final step is going to be adding a lemon. This is going to be another thing that's to taste. So you're going to
lemon and salt or just lemon?
We're going to do lemon first. We're going to add salt and pepper at the end.
Okay.
The reason why
Ray is so concerned with the salt.
Yo, I don't fuck around without salt.
That's like the 3rd time you've asked.
No, I put salt on my salt just so you know.
No, I do too, bro. I do too, but with this dish, you want to salt and pepper at the end because usually you season as you go along. But with this dish, you don't do that because you don't want to over salt. Salt is a flavor enhancer. That's what salt is used for.
Oh yeah, I'm just hooked on salt. That's what.
No, me too, bro. I'm a salt addict. I actually have to stop eating salt because salt gives you a fucking heart attack. We're still doing the shallots. While we're doing the shallots, I'll play you guys a little song.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Cut your lemon in half and make sure that no seeds go in. If you have to put your hand and squeeze it like this, or if you have a citrus squeezer at home, that works as well. I feel like a lot of people do have those. They look like this. Just to make sure. So I would do half of a lemon first and make sure no seeds get into the juice.
Mix it up right into the yogurt?
Yep. I said, this is where it comes to tasting. When you cook, you taste as you go along. You're gonna taste it and you're like, you know what? It's not lemony enough. It needs more lemon. Because with food, it's always okay to add a little and you can add more later. And when you put it in the refrigerator, it's gonna get cold and it's gonna all the flavors are gonna come together. I'm happy with the taste. Good. You should start tasting your dill, the cucumber, the yogurt, the lemon. Those flavors should all start coming together, the garlic. Now this is when you add salt and pepper. Salt, like you don't want to over salt it, so literally I would probably start with like a teaspoon. I don't use measurements personally, but I would personally start with a teaspoon and then mix it up. I would go with your pepper. I would just, personally, I like a lot of pepper. There's another thing too, like it's better to undersalt it right now because we're gonna put it in the fridge and let it sit while we do everything else. And when all the flavors combine, you can re-salt it at the end and pepper it to add a little bit more salt if it's not salty enough for you, or add a little bit more lemon if you need more lemon. Take your plastic wrap or something to cover with, oil, whatever you have. Like, you know, you make pasta sauce and then you put it in the fridge and then like the next day it tastes better. Like that's like the whole, it's like the whole trick, you know? It needs, like, or when you make salsa, you need to put it in the fridge and let it sit for like 30, 40 minutes. So I plastic wrap it, in the fridge it goes.
Way too thin.
Charnis, yours looks fine. Does it have that lemony, dilly, cucumbery taste?
I haven't tasted it yet.
You should be tasting. Because when you're cooking, you need to taste everything you make because that's what's gonna it's like when you're making a beat, bro. You gotta listen to your track over and over. So when you're cooking, you have you know, when you make music, your ears are like your taste buds. So you have to use your mouth to make sure that it's tasting right, that it's AKA sounding right. What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to put your chicken breast into a pot like this, and you're gonna want to put your chicken breast at the bottom, and then fill it up with water, and make sure that the water goes about an inch over the chicken breast, and then add salt, bay leaf, whole peppercorns, and whatever herbs and spices you can throw. If you have an extra half of a lemon, squeeze a lemon juice.
Warm water, cold water, doesn't matter.
If you have any dried herbs, I personally like to use bay leaf, peppercorns, and salt.
So Michael, so Ray's question was stir it from cold water or warm water?
Cold water, yes. Cover it with cold water.
Got it.
Take the breasts, And they
Mike, for the
pot.
chicken breast, when I added the water and salt and pepper, what else did you say?
I add you can add anything you want. I just add a bay leaf and salt. But if you have like parsley, or you can add anything you want. If you have like a half of a lemon that you don't want to use,
And the water is just right above the chicken, right?
an inch above, 1 inch above.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys have made I'm sure you've made pasta before, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So the salt isn't really going to absorb into the chicken. So you can add a pretty good amount. I probably personally would add about 2 tablespoons.
Like put some in a palm in my hand.
Yeah. And what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want let that chicken. It's gonna start. I'm gonna add a little bit of red pepper because I like red pepper. And if you have whole peppercorns, add whole peppercorns as well. The more seasoning you add in there, the more the seasoning is gonna add to the flavor.
Hey, Sandra, did you season the chicken before you put it in the thing? I missed this.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't season the chicken because that's why I salted the water. The reason why I'm not seasoning the chicken is because we're making basic shredded chicken, and this is gonna have a little bit of flavor because once we're done with this, we can use it for any way. We can use it for enchiladas, for salad, for this dish.
Okay, so you put the seasoning and pepper and stuff into the water, yeah?
Yeah, because you want a little bit of seasoning, but you don't want like too much. You know what I mean? So what's gonna happen is we're gonna wait till the water comes to a boil. Watch the chicken. Once the water comes to a boil, we're gonna turn it down to medium heat, slow simmer it, and it depends. I don't know if you have 1 breast, 2 breasts. I don't know how many you have in, but say you have 1 breast, you'll probably cook it for about 10 minutes to 15. If you have a thermometer at your house, a digital thermometer or a thermometer, you want it to reach 160.
Remember you mentioned that you're not gonna use the oven. What are you gonna make the bread on?
I'm gonna make it on the stovetop, bro, like they did back in the day. I'm gonna make it in a fucking cast iron skillet or a hot frying pan.
Got it. All right, thank you.
You set a timer for 10 minutes on cooking the chicken, yeah?
But you gotta wait until the water comes to a boil, and then you turn it down, and then you put on the timer. The reason why that you start it in cold water, just like if you make mashed potatoes or make a lot of things, is you throw something into a hot water, it shocks the outside, and it doesn't cook fully evenly, and doesn't make it that beautiful, like, it doesn't give it that beautiful, like, texture and milkiness that food has. It's gonna bring the temperature up all together at once. Did you guys get the walnuts like I have in the recipe? Or cashews?
I have walnuts.
Walnuts?
What about almonds?
We could try. I've never used it. I've never made an almond pesto, but fuck it, try it.
Okay.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna get your frying pan and you're gonna get it hot. What we're gonna do is we're gonna toast the nuts. So I want you to get a half a cup of nuts. I said I gave you guys a basic recipe to use, but I do everything by eye when it comes to this shit because I know what I'm doing. Throw them in a pan and you just let them get hot and toasted because when you toast nuts, it releases an oil and a fat from the nut that goes into the pesto that makes it good. Traditionally, a pesto is pine nuts and basil, but I'm making this mock pesto because first of all, walnuts are cheaper, walnuts are healthier, and walnuts can be used in way more ways. You can make like a walnut banana shake. I've never used an almond, but
do we add anything to it?
Just put all you
Mike,
want to
is
do.
it better if it's powder? Like I have powder walnuts, or is it regular? I have both.
Use your regular walnuts. You're gonna start smelling this like really nice fragrance of nut flavor.
Check your chicken, people, because mine started boiling already.
Mine just boiled. Yeah, me too.
So if it started boiling, good call.
Turn it down.
Turn it down, and then put your timer on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, timer to 12 minutes or 10 minutes?
Put it on 12 minutes.
12
I don't want
12
you
minutes for, what if you're double breast?
15.
Wait, for the walnuts, you don't need any oil or anything in there?
Nope. You don't want any oil. The nuts already have their own natural oils in them that are going to get released when you heat them up.
The chicken, you said we go all the way low or like a medium heat?
Medium boil with the top on. Make sure you keep it covered.
Okay.
So the walnuts should be toasted. They toast in literally 3 minutes. If you have the pan on high and you throw them in a hot pan, They start toasting and they'll get like a nice little like black char.
When the nuts are pretty black, what do? You just turn it down or something?
Take them out. They're done. You just toast them and they're done. A little bit of char on them, you take them out. You don't want to burn them, you want to toast them. Well, I have my pan, well, that other pan's for the bread. I just turned my heat off on the pan.
Okay.
My nuts got good, I turned off the heat and they're just chilling in the pan. Because what we're going to start doing is we're going to start making the pesto.
I'm going to start doing what you're doing and get some more wine.
Yeah. Right now, I have a blender too, but I like the micro bullet. And what you're want to do is you're going to want to grab your fresh spinach, basil, if you have parsley, it's all good. But I would add 2 cups of spinach, which pretty much comes out to about 2 handfuls. You just put your 2 handfuls of spinach in the blender. I put a recipe down, which is pretty much
the spinach. You chop it up?
No, just throw it in your blender.
Okay. Look at the blender I have. It's like tiny one. Is that fine?
Oh, that's a food processor. That's great.
Okay.
So you're gonna want to put your 2 cups worth or 2 handfuls worth. The next thing you want to do is you're gonna want to get your Parmesan cheese, and you're gonna want 2 garlic cloves, and then you're gonna add, and then we're gonna if you have a magic bullet, we're gonna put all the oil in. But if you have a blender or a food processor, you're gonna add the oil in slowly as the food processor goes.
One more time, just say what else goes in there besides the spinach.
Spinach, 2 cups of spinach, a half a cup of the toasted walnuts. You should have a little bit of extra walnuts left over.
Yeah.
Half a cup of shredded Parmesan.
And garlic.
2 cloves of garlic.
Okay.
You don't have to chop the garlic, you just throw it in there. I like garlicky shit, so I add more. I'm gonna add 3 cloves, but so make sure your timer's on with your chicken. This is another thing, like as you make this is your first time making pesto, you'll figure out when you make this, you're like, oh, I could add more walnut, or I could add more cheese, or I could add more garlic, or I could add, it's gonna be a flavor thing. This is all profile. This is so fucking good. So if you have a magic bullet, you need to add all the oil, which is 2/3 of a cup. Or 3/4 of a cup. If you have a magic bullet. If you don't have a magic bullet, you add a little bit of oil, you start processing it, and then you add more as it starts thickening it, and it'll get the right thing. You slowly add the rest of the oil, but make sure you have 2/3 of a cup. Me, I'm just gonna add 2/3 of a cup. I don't even need to, I already know how much to add because I fucking made this shit 1,000 times. So I just add my oil. You make sure that you add your salt as well.
Wait, 2/3 of a cup, right?
No, 3/4 of a cup of oil.
3/4 of a cup, okay.
Of olive oil. And then you add, I would say, a teaspoon of salt, and then a nice good amount of pepper. If it's in a magic bullet, you just put your top on, and you just fucking go to town. Minimal ingredients. You stick it on your thing, everything gets nice. And one thing you want to make sure is that you don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, you're in big trouble.
What do you mean by overdo it? Over pulsing it?
Yeah, over pulsing. You might be able to do it for like a minute, but you're gonna want to come out and it's gonna look like, see how my pesto looks? I did a magic bullet and it comes out nice. And then you want to taste it. And make sure you have it on low, don't have it on high pulse. You want to make it on the lowest possible when you pulse if you're using a blender.
Is it supposed to have little chunks in it, or is it supposed to be more smooth consistency?
It's nice. It would be better if it's smooth, but sometimes if it's not smooth, you might want to add a little bit more oil.
Chicken is 12 minutes about now, so what do we do with the chicken?
So then if it's been 12 minutes and it's one breast boiling for 12 minutes, you're fine. Put it on a plate and reset a thermometer for 5 minutes, because in 5 minutes, you're gonna shred it. Pesto should be green, thin, it should have a nice garlicky, parmesan-y. Yeah? I see your face, it looks good. Yeah, my boy, it looks good. Your face, it's super easy. What we're gonna do is when we shred the chicken, we're gonna throw that in a pan with the shredded chicken, and we're gonna make this pesto shredded chicken that we're gonna put in the bread, and then we're gonna put the yogurt over it.
Is it okay to just leave it in the magic bullet thing?
Yeah, leave it in your magic bullet, leave it in your blender. but make sure you taste it. And if it needs more salt, if it needs more oil.
I may have put too much salt in there, but it's good.
Mine tastes like too much salt as well. What can we do to minimize the saltiness?
Add more spinach.
Okay.
So my chicken's done. I'm taking my chicken out. All right, chicken's done. Put my timer on for 5 minutes, and then we'll shred the chicken in 5 minutes. All you do is you take 2 forks, and you literally just take the chicken and shred it like 2 forks, and go, and it'll just start ripping apart.
Wow, yeah, works.
Yeah, if you cooked it for the perfect amount of time and you let it sit, the juices will still be in there, so it'll be nice and juicy, and you'll have beautifully shredded, juicy chicken. You can taste it. That's the whole thing. Your tongue is like your canvas. You can taste, like, oh, like it's too salty, so I'll add more of this. That'll tone down. No one's ever gonna make the same exact pesto. It's always gonna be a little bit different, Yeah, once your chicken is cooked, oh man.
How does that look, Sandler?
Oh, it looks great, bro. It looks great. It looks good. Did you taste? No, that looks good. Does it taste moist and good?
Yeah, it tastes perfection, actually. Wow.
It's easy, bro. Keep that pesto on the side. And the best part about this pesto, once you have it flavored right and the way it tastes good, like good pesto, you can save this pesto for up to a week in your fridge. So you have pesto, like if you want to put it on bread, if you want to put it on eggs, if you want to make pasta tomorrow and make a pesto pasta, you literally have enough pesto. I gave you enough pesto. Yeah, that's going to last you for at least a week. So you have pesto sauce. Like, I love goat cheese, pesto, and roasted red bell peppers. That's my fucking jam, dude. And you put it on bread, you put it on, dude, pesto on anything is like, file. So some people like more garlic, some people like more salt, some people like more cheese. It's pretty much like, it's a blank canvas for you to go. Now that we have our chicken shredded, we're gonna chop some tomatoes, have some tomato on the side. So chopping a tomato, the first thing you want to do is if you have a knife, chopping a tomato is a whole different thing because tomatoes have this like really thick skin. So if you have a serrated knife, use a serrated knife.
What's a serrated knife?
A knife that has like the grooves in it, like
Yeah.
See that? So pretty much what you do is you cut the tomato in half, you cut it in a quarter, and then what you're gonna want to do is you don't want the seeds again. So I'm gonna show you right here. You go from the one end and you just take the seeds out. You cut the seeds out. So if you look, you start from this end and you just like literally whoop, you take the serrated out and you cut the seeds out. It's super simple. So you have a tomato that looks like this minus the seeds. See how I cut the seeds out? It literally just cuts right out. If you want to cut it in half, and then you just want to slice it into nice like pico de gallo sized cuts. This is gonna go on top of your wrap, so you have your tomatoes ready to rock and roll. They're nice and just like basic diced. Looks like you're having pico de gallo salsa. Because you're just gonna use those at the end to, put on top of your food. A little bit, but don't worry, because we're gonna reheat it up with the pesto in a pan. We have 2 frying pans, right?
What did you say, frying pan?
Well, so we're gonna need 2 frying pans. We're gonna need one to make the bread in, which is your biggest frying pan, like a 12-inch or bigger than your hand, because this is how we're gonna make the bread. Is everybody done with their pesto, their tomato, and their chicken?
You keep eating. You're gonna eat everything before everything finishes?
I'm eating everything too. I'm fucking starving.
Dude, I'm eating nuts because I'm dying right now.
Bro, I'm eating nuts. I'm eating chickens on this side. I'm eating everything.
I didn't even have lunch today, so.
Bro, same here.
I
I'm
was
eating
waiting for this.
I'm eating tomato seeds right now.
I'm smelling my pesto. I'm smelling my chicken. I want to just devour everything.
You guys ready?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, we're talking about how hungry we are.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. You ready to make bread right now?
No.
Have their bread out, their dough. Everybody get your frying pan hot. Whatever pan you have, turn it on and turn it on to high, your pan. And another thing I need you guys to do is if you have a brush, get a brush out. If not, I need you to put a little bit of olive oil. I have this little bowl right here. I put olive oil in it. and I keep this olive oil because once I roll out the bread, I'm gonna rub olive oil on it so I cook it in the pan. And make sure you also have your flour out too. So you have your cutting board, you have your bread, you have your ball. I would say do it like a little bit like a little smaller than your hand size, like say the size of a golf ball. Maybe a little bit bigger than a golf ball. I'll do it first, and then you guys can copy. And then I take my ball, and with my hands, and I make it into a nice little disc, and then now I put it on my flour surface and I roll it out. I have my rolling pin, and I'm just sitting here and I'm rolling it out as thin as possible too. Just keep rolling, flip it if you have to. And you're literally you should feel your dough. Your dough should be like really nice and stuck together by now. So when you roll it out, it should just be like, and if you need to add a little bit more, a pinch of flour because it like is sticking to the cutting board, you just keep adding more. And just keep rolling your bread out. Roll it out. Get thin. Rolling it. Huh?
What if we have no rolling pin?
You're gonna have to use your hands. Use your hands.
So I should start pushing it now.
Yeah, like literally like start making it like you would make pizza from scratch. And you want to pull it out like you pull it like this. Look. See how I'm like pulling it and stretching it, and I'm like using my hand because it should be sticking together. The gluten now should have stuck together, and the bread should be like the dough should be pretty elastic.
And what did you say to oil?
Not yet. Don't oil yet.
Okay.
Just get your bread as thin as possible. Like I'm gonna get it pretty thin. Use your hand to like literally like separate it. Like it's just like making pizza. You know, like you kind of just use your fist, and then you just kind of like stretch the outsides, and then like put it on the cutting board and then stretch it out with your hands like this. You can literally maneuver and control this whole piece of bread. I thinned it out really nice and thin. If you see
mine doesn't even look close to that. But look at this. Mine doesn't even look close to that.
It's good. Just get thinner, bro. So what I do is I have a brush, but if you don't have a brush, just put a little bit on your finger, or like I use a brush. If you don't have a brush, use like a spoon, and I just brush the bread. I just put a little bit of oil on the bread, like this. The pan's getting hot, and make sure you have some tongs or something. My pan's hot as fuck. I can feel it. Oh shit. Right, what I like to do is if you have fresh rosemary or dried rosemary, I add rosemary on my bread. So I have oil on top of my bread. I oiled the top, and I literally just throw it in the pan. And I press it down in the pan, the hot pan, to make sure that it starts sticking. And then I take a little bit of oil and I brush the other top because I'm gonna flip it. So you're gonna watch the bread, and it's on hot. The bread's gonna start bubbling up. The bread's gonna start, air pockets are gonna start flowing in the bread. I pop the bread, I pop those personally. And then you check the bread, and it should be in there for about maybe a minute. I would use tongs to check the bread. You can tell it starts making, like, you can tell the bread starts rising. It starts making this like doughy top. And you're like, all right, shit looks good. Boom, look at that. I flipped the bread, look at that shit. Look how beautiful that looks. Nice and toasted, got the brown. Looks just like fucking Persian lavash. It's pretty much a ghetto lavash. So I flipped the bread, and if you see the bread, I flipped it. It still needs like, it burned, it like got some burn, not burn marks, but like brown marks. But it's not burnt. You want to cook it like maybe a little bit longer.
How's this look?
Looks fucking awesome, Ray. All right. You cover the bread with the towel, because the towel is gonna like put it in like a pan, like you would like tortillas. It needs to be in a towel because that'll keep the moisture. And then you just make another one. You make another piece of bread. Your bread you just had.
So the pan has to be dry though. It starts smoking a lot. Is it not? You don't put oil in the pan at all?
No oil in the pan.
Okay,
Oil. It's like have you ever seen how they make naan? They don't put naan. They just put a little bit of oil on the bread.
My smoke alarm is gonna go on though because it's very smoky.
It will be smoky. Yeah, it gets smoky. Or they make any type of bread. They have like a, that hot ass clay oven, and they just slap the bread right on the hot oven, and it just starts boiling up. This is pretty much the same technique we're doing, but we're not using a tandoor oven. We're using just a stove top. It's like really bomb bread from scratch. So once again, you got your bread. I got my bread. It's nice and thin. It looks like a, pretty much like a burrito tortilla. Making lavash. You're making like pretty much like Jewish. Bro, you're making the bread that the Jews made when they left Egypt.
Little history.
Mike, when do I flip over? You said when I see bubbles on it?
So, well, what you can do is you can take your tongs and you can flip it a little bit to take a good look. But yeah, the bread will start bubbling up. You'll see that. We want it to be like a medium to like high heat. If you want the bread to cook, the bread should be cooking like 3 times.
I know for those that don't have a rolling pin, my dad came up with a good idea. A water.
So yummy.
So see, guys, look, I got my bread. Look at that.
Show him your bread. That looks dope.
Mine does not look like that.
Can I show off my bread too? Mine looks bomb.
Of course, yours looks bomb. You're a fucking bird.
He's really high.
Yes.
My bread brings all the chicks to the yard. John, what are you eating? Are you eating the dough?
Mixed nuts. What's our ETA for the chicken?
So let's just make a couple pieces of bread and then we can move on. Keep the bread in the fridge. You can make the bread whenever you want. Let's just make
I'm just so the top 5 hungry I've ever been in my life. I think.
Jesus.
So another pan. It could be any pan, it could be a small pan, whatever pan, it doesn't matter. We put a spoonful of pesto in the pan to heat it up. Just want to like get a little bit of the garlicky taste out of the pesto. And you just want to put like a couple spoonfuls of pesto in the pan and then add the chicken and you just start mixing it up. See how my chicken's got like a little bit of white, but it's still covered in green?
Yeah.
So it's got like a nice little bit of pesto on it. Fuck me, tastes so good. We're only doing this to just give it a little quick reheat. Just cook the pesto for like a minute before you add the chicken so it extracts the flavor of the garlic. And since I use spinach instead of pesto, pesto would turn black, but spinach doesn't turn black, so it'll turn green.
How long do you cook it for?
30 seconds.
And then you do what? Put it in a plate?
Just leave it in the pan. Just turn off the heat, leave it in the pan. And then now you need to pull your tzatziki out and taste your yogurt sauce that you made. You might need to add a little bit more salt. You might need to add more pepper. You might need to add more lemon. It's all up to your flavor. Mine tastes great. The bread. Take your beautiful chicken. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add a little yogurt sauce first. I'm going to spread my yogurt sauce in the middle like this. Right up the middle. Add that beautiful, beautiful chicken pesto. And then this is a great time to add any greens you want. You can have like lettuce, radish. I'm gonna add a little bit of arugula with mine. And then I'm gonna add tomato. And then if you have Kalamata olives or like olives at your house, I would add olives as well. But I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato. Homemade bread, the tzatziki, the pesto chicken, a little bit of like either lettuce, spinach, arugula, chopped tomato. Another thing you could do is like put like your cucumber, like red onion salad, like a Greek salad, and then a little bit of olive. Babe, your food's ready. Come here. Come here. Okay. I would put a little bit more yogurt sauce because the yogurt sauce is bomb. Taste it first. Make sure it tastes good, like I said.
Oh my god.
Try it.
Wow. Look at you guys.
Take a bite. Eat your wrap.
Wow, that looks so pretty.
Take your bite. Let me know how it is.
Okay. Y'all eating yet?
But they're getting there.
We're about to.
Let them know how it is.
Everything came out tasting so good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Guys, this is my masterpiece. Mike?
What?
What do you think?
Let me see yours, Ray. Yours looks great, Ray.
Where's Ray?
Oh, there you go.
Good, baby.
Can we eat now?
You now have the recipe, though, how to make this bread.
It's
You
bomb.
don't have it? Fuck it, who cares? But you have the recipe on how to make your own bread.
Yeah.
Mike, it's really good.
And you literally just made like a pretty much your own Mediterranean wrap from scratch, literally.
Bon appetit, you guys.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Hey,
Thank you.
Mike, you crushed it. Thank you.
let's see your guys' final product.
Ray's looks bomb. Myda's, yours is obviously amazing, Myda.
Nice.
Brendan, how'd yours come out? You look sad.
How is it, Myda? How is it, Myda? Good? I'm gonna unmute everybody.
Myda, good?
Mine's overloaded on like yogurt.
I'm gonna try it too.
I'm gonna go for round 2 now.
Oh my god, bon appetit. Can you see?
I haven't.
Fuck yeah.
All right, bon
Cheers.
appetit.
Mike, thank you. Hannah, thank you.
Yes.
Guys, this was amazing. This is the
Thank
first
Yums.
this is the first official meal I made in 32 years.
How easy is that bread, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so crispy.
Homemade curry, homemade I make shakushuka at home all the time, and I eat it with shakushuka. Next 2 dishes I would make is either I would teach you how to poach an egg perfectly, or I'll teach you how to make shakushuka, and then
Oh, Shakushuka.
Shakushuka, let's go.
Yes.
Let's make shakushuka. Let's do that.
and we could do it as a brunch. So to do it not this Sunday, but we could do it either next Saturday or next Sunday. Not this coming, but the one after.
It's on you and Connor. You guys, we work on your schedule. You don't work on our schedule.
Yeah, whatever Michael wants.
Bro, all I do is cook and make music, bro. I ain't do nothing else.
Okay.
Buy my EP.
There you go. You gotta send some promo in there, bro. Put your SoundCloud link on the
Shakushuka next if you guys want to learn that.
Yes.
I'm always down with that.
Oh yeah.
Tzatziki is fucking bomb.
Oh shit, I totally forgot to add feta cheese. If you want to add feta, add feta. You guys killed it.
Thank you.
What time is it in Singapore?
1 p.m. Almost 1 p.m.
Perfect lunch.
I know.
Dude, how good is that chicken and the pesto with the yogurt sauce?
Pesto is really good.
It's bomb, right? And it's with spinach. And you always have spinach in your house, so it's super healthy for you. Fucking bomb, huh?
Yes, Myda.
Yeah, I'm on my 3rd plate, bro. Thank you.
Cheers, Myda. Cheers, Myda.
This is so good.
We're cooking. We're eating.
What time is it? Huh.
Does it matter? We're in quarantine.
That's
It's only 10 o'clock.
Sounds amazing.
Now I gotta go clean out till next Wednesday.
So you have leftover dough, and you can use that dough, like I said, roll it out, and it'll last for 3 days in the fridge. So 3 days is good. You have the dough you have left over.
can't keep it like this.
Just keep it airtight. Airtight.
Oh.
So don't have you need to take it out of the bowl and wrap it in saran wrap. Or if you put saran wrap, push the saran wrap down over it so no air touches it because you don't want it to oxidize.
Yeah, we did a salmon version for Ashton and it came out bomb.
It was good.
Salmon version?
Salmon, yeah.
Oh, nice.
It was really good.
Oh,
It
dude.
tastes really good.
With the pesto?
Yeah, I mean that yogurt,
It's salmon.
the yogurt dill sauce goes so good with salmon too. It's like next level.
No,
So
the
good.
yogurt dill sauce
That
is
dill
like
sauce goes good with
the
anything.
clutch moment.
Yeah.
Brendan, you happy?
Look at his face, bro. He looks happy as fuck.
Your bread came out okay?
So good.
Tastes better than it looks.
Yeah.
It looks great.